Hello and welcome back to Danger Aware Animation Department, and today we are going to be working on improving the puppet Any Semrel. Now you can see it used to say Any Small Red Ant, and that's because I decided to change the name of the character, well, it's a multi-character, to Semrel because it's a Symbolant relative. So we're going to be working in Moho 14 and working on Semrel. So let's go over to the program here, start up Moho. I usually start with Moho already running, but I figured I'd go ahead and start it up so you can see what the startup process is if you don't have a copy of Moho. And here we are. We got their initial little character that comes up at the beginning, and there's a number of them that come up. So each time you start it, it's a different character that comes up. And it's a fairly simple character made from a image. And so you can attach bones that with strength on them allow you to manipulate the character. And as you can see here, it's very effective. So let's go ahead and open up our character, which is going to be Semrel 3. And when we last left off, we had just completed the hands. In fact, you can see here, I've got this chart here still. So we have a missing leg here. We're going to take care of that. And just like when I had created the original character for the arms rotating around the body, I was using duplicates of the legs and putting them behind the body and in front of the body. So you can see here I've got the right front leg, the left front leg, then I've got legs before and legs behind, and that is where I had a switch layer. And as you can see, I've got the right leg here, I've got the left leg here, and then there's a group of none, so there's none of them. And then on the behind legs, I've got the rear left leg, the rear right leg, and both behind legs. So I'm really creating these legs like 6 times to do this rotation around the body. And that really was not needed. I didn't know that. I was still learning and still am. So hopefully I'm teaching you things as I'm learning them, and hopefully you can avoid mistakes that I've made. So we want to keep these front legs as they are, but we need the rear legs out of the groups here. So I'm just going to take this rear leg here and move it there, and this left rear leg and move it there. And then I can get rid of the legs before group completely, eliminating a lot of duplicate memory usage. And then on the legs behind, I don't need that group at all anymore. And there we go. So now I've only got the 4 legs individually, and what I'm going to do is move them around the thorax as needed. So now that I understand how to do the layer ordering, I can do that in any group. So any group can be layer ordered by 1 bone. You can't assign multiple bones to change the layer order. So you can only use layer ordering on 1 object at a time. So I may be wrong. I may figure this out and make it work better, but let's see what we can do. So here we've got the rear legs behind the thorax. So if I get off the thorax so you can see that there's 2 legs behind and 2 legs in front. Well, when I want to rotate that around the body, I want this back leg to rotate around in front as this front leg rotates around behind, so that we can always see at least 2 legs in front, and sometimes we might even see 3. So that's how I'm going to work these legs now that we can see them all, because I've eliminated the switch layers and they're in their proper positions. So we're going to do this bone right here. Let's see. So this is the abdomen left and right. And as you can see, when you're on an object like the thorax, you can see that it's affected by thorax size and sex, and that's it. But the legs are affected by heft and this twist. So we're going to go to the legs left and right. Because this is a multi-character with different sizes, when I go to change the character's heft, and when I change the size of the thorax, those legs are not going to rotate around the thorax properly any longer. I've been through this before. So I need to create new bones here for this character. What I need to do is add bones to the hips here. Basically, I need hip bones. Just as I've got shoulder bones up here for the arms, I need hip bones for each set of legs. And they need to be based off of the root bone of the character. It would be right here. So we're going to grab B for bone. And then we're going to add, but I want to add it so that it goes straight out from the base here where the bone would have extended straight down. So we're going to zoom in. We're going to bring those points to the top of the screen so we can just barely see them. And then we're going to draw our bone, A to add bone. And we're going to start right here and drag across to there. And because it's red, we can barely see it. In fact, I can't see it unless it's right there. As I zoom in, the reds blend together too much. Let's go ahead and change the style. We're in the construction layer. We're in the bone layer. We're going to go to Semblance Body Color. And we're just going to make it transparent so that we can... well, we're going to have to do it to each of the colors, I guess. Let's go to Body 2. And the fill should be transparent there. Now that'll help. Let's do the strokes as well. By just changing the transparency, I'm not changing my colors. So now we can see that bone. And then we're going to go back to B for bone and select this bone again. And then add, and we're going to grab the tip here and add to here. Alright, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go B for bone, grab this here. We're going to bring these other two legs up to where they're almost touching. And now we can see where we need to add our bone to here. And then finally grab this bone here and A to add, and we've got our final hip bone. Now I want to zoom in and set the positions of the tips of those bones proper. So we don't want to move the other bone, we want to make this one be proper to where it should connect. So there's that one. Precision help. The more precise you make your bone connections, the better your rotations of your parts will do as you expect them to. And right there. So now I want to parent these bones, so I'm going to go to this bone and parent it to this new hip. This bone parents to this new hip. This bone parents to this new hip. And this bone parents to this new hip. Now, Because I've created new bones and I've changed the parenting, if there are any actions that work with the legs, like heft, it is likely to be wrong from now on, like that. So it is best when you're changing your puppet like this to improve it, that you either completely delete any actions that are going to cause problems and then recreate those actions, or you go in and delete the parts that are getting changed because of these actions. So we can go into heft and then we can select each leg and we can see whether or not that leg is being affected. Well, they're not being affected by total leg, so now we go to the parts. And so there you can see that's where the parts are being affected, and anything in red indicates that that's the part being affected. So we need to delete all of that and check each different part and do the same. So these so as you can see, it gets quite complex. So the best thing at this point would be to simply delete heft and everything goes back to normal. So, except that leg now that I've messed with things. Let's go back to normal. And we go into that, it does that to our character. So let's just delete heft completely. And go back to our construction layer. There we go. So, well, we've still got the legs moving around. So, as I said, any action that affects the legs is going to do this. Oh, wait. This may only be because of bone strength. So, let's get rid of our bone strength on all of these new hips and see if that affects it. No? Okay. So that's not doing it. So it must be there's another action affecting the legs or the thigh or something. Let's see here. So nothing's showing up there. I'm not finding what's causing that to go over like that. Let's see here. Let's clear all animation from the document. That helped. But my legs are still moving. Why are they moving? Well, let's test every bone and see what's going on here. So, sex. Okay. So sex is affecting those. So I think let's just delete sex. What else is affecting them? Wing size is not. Abdomen is not. Eyelashes is not. There we go. Height. Alright. So let's just delete height. We'll recreate it. So now it looks like our legs are where they belong and are staying where they belong. So those were the two actions that were affecting the legs. And so yeah, we don't see them moving at all. Alright, so now we can create our new action. Legs left and right. So the first thing I want to do is figure out, well, when they go left and right, they're going to go first to the edge of the character's body and then back. I think we can bring our colors back now. Let's go back to the beginning here and to our styles and body color. Alright, so now we can see what we're working around. We can hide the abdomen. It doesn't need to be shown at this point. So we just turn that off. No names. So now we're just working with the bottom of the thorax here. So when the legs move around, these are going to move inward. This one's going to move inward. This one's going to move outward to the edge. This one's going to move inward, and this one's going to move outward to the edge. So we'll go to our action and legs left and right, and we're going to rotate our bone all the way to the minimum position, jump to 65, and move to the maximum. So now at the maximum to the right, this bone will be as small as it gets. Let's change its scale to 5%. This one is going to be going out and then back, and so we'll drop it down 50%. So on the back side, it's only 50%. Front side, it's 5%. Now this one is going to rotate down to 5% because it's moving its full maximum rotation. And this one will have come out to the edge and then come back around, so it'll only be 50%. But it's going to be in front. Okay? So what we want to do is come over here, and we've got our right legs and left legs here, and they're on, 2 of them are in front of and 2 of them are behind the thorax. One of the great things about Moho is when you're working in an action and you have affected any bones, you can see those bones are highlighted. They've got a boldness about them so that you know, oh, I've touched that bone in this action. So if you accidentally do a bone movement in an action, when you go into that action, you can see which bones are being affected by that action. So now, where we were was I had just set the sizes for these 2 bones and these 2 bones so that when the character has rotated the legs around the body, they're shrank on one side more than the other. So now let's jump to 1, and we're going to do the same exact thing, but in reverse. So we're going to grab this bone and this bone and hit T on the keyboard, and we're going to change their scale to 5%. And then we're going to grab B for bone on the keyboard and grab this bone, holding shift, grab this bone and hit T, and then we're going to change those to 50%. So now that's the exact opposite of what we have for the other direction. But as you can see, we no longer have our rest state. So we're going to go to 33, and we're going to grab all these bones. So hit B first. There's 2 selected, so I'm going to just hold shift and select the other 2. And now I'm going to hit T, and then we're going to reset. You can see the scale is averaging out to 27.5 for all of them. They're not each at 27.5. It's just when you take the two that are at 5% or halfway there and two that are halfway between 50%, the total together added up and then averaged is 27.5. But we're going to reset that scale and it's going to go back to 100. And now the legs are in their rest state at 33, which is our midpoint between 1 and 65, which is based on what I've set as the constraints for this bone here. So now we're at the reset, so we can rotate this way and this way, but as you can see, it's not actually going out to the edge of the bodies before it's rotating. So let's go to the halfway point, which is 48 here. And now we're going to manually adjust which bones are going to be doing what. So now each bone separate. So this bone, it's going to be right at the edge of the body. So I'm selecting the bone, hitting T, and I'm going to stretch it till it's just the stroke of the leg and the stroke of the body are both interacting 100% basically. You don't exit off of the edge of the body. So that's going to be the maximum distance that that leg can go before rotating back around the backside. Okay? And this leg's fine, and then this leg is going to rotate all the way to the edge. So we do the same thing here. We want the strokes to be 100% interacting with each other. So we don't want this part to go beyond the stroke here. So you can see right there we're going behind the stroke. We don't want that. We want to be right at the edge of the stroke. 100% stroke over stroke. So there now we've got that leg at its furthest out position and this leg at its furthest out position. Now we're going to do the other two the other direction, so we need to go the halfway point. What is the halfway point? It's 16. So we're going to go to 16 here, and we're going to do the opposite. We're going to bring this leg to the edge of the body, and just till the stroke is inside the other stroke, and then we're going to bring this leg all the way to the edge. And again, we want the stroke to just be barely right where they're both exactly overlapping. So there we go. So now we can go from here and rotate to there. Now the only problem is the back legs are staying in the back and the front legs are staying in the front. And so we're losing the illusion of the rotation. So how do we fix that? We use our sorted layer effect. So you can see here that our character has depth sort and enable animated layer order. That applies to everything in the entire character symbolant, but only for the individual objects. So each of these objects that are complex, they can have animated layer sort within them, but this animated layer sort does not affect what is happening inside of this one. So it can only affect what's in the base of the group. So any of these parts here, I can move around using the effect of this lever. So as we're moving this lever back and forth, we can move these up and down to change what's happening. So when we get to 48, and this leg, which is the front left leg, it's going to rotate around behind the body. So over here, the left front leg, the left foreleg, we're going to take this and just drop it behind the thorax. Well, it should do it. It's not. Why are we not getting it to move? Let's try moving the thorax up. That didn't work. And I must be affecting the sorted layering somewhere else, because you can, or let me just delete this. Maybe that's what's doing it. So now let's try it. So we're going to go to 48, and we want the foreleg to go behind the thorax, and it's not doing it. So somewhere I must be affecting the layer order already, because I can't do it more than once. So let's see. That's why I was using switch layers and using duplicates of the legs, and then switching between which ones were visible and which ones were not. So let's see, we need to find out where we've got anything like this happening in another action. So at each action, we're just going to look to make sure there's nothing affecting the layers for the entire character. Again, this is part of improving the character, is eliminating any mistakes that I made the first time around. Ah, there it was, head up and down. So, as you can see in the head up and down, somehow or other, I've moved the layers. I don't think I intended to, but I did. So we're going to remove that. And I didn't see anything change in the head up and down, which means that the changing of the layer was probably not intentional. So now I'm just going to continue through. There shouldn't be any others. So it looks like there, I've eliminated the problem. So now we can go back into our legs left and right. We want to go to, at 48, we want to bring the left foreleg behind the thorax. So that's still there. In the opposite direction at 16, we want to bring the right front leg behind the thorax, and the left rear leg in front of the thorax. So now, oh, we have to go to 1 and do the same thing so it stays that way. So we need the left leg in front of the thorax, and we need the right foreleg behind the thorax. So now it should stay there throughout this rotation. This comes back around, so we've got, okay, so at 16 here, now we need to bring the right foreleg back in front of the thorax and the left rear leg back behind the thorax. So from here on, we go across the 2 in front and 2 behind. And as we get to this point, so at 48, we need the left foreleg to go behind the thorax. There we go. And we need the right rear leg to go in front of the thorax. So now, when we complete the action, we've got 2 legs on the left and 2 legs on the right. And now they're front and back. And now they're right and left. So the legs are rotating around the thorax as it should. And you can see all that happening here. I'm going to move the timeline, and you can watch here and see those layers changing positions. Okay? So that's how you can do the rotation around the body without creating duplicates of all the legs multiple times and using switch layers, which is what I did last time. So, and I was just learning. I had no idea that I could move these layers like this. So the layer sort function only functions in one action. You can't use it in multiple actions. Now you could leave it out of an action and then use it in your timeline, but in my philosophy of what I've been developing on how to use Moho and become an animator, the more I can just move the puppet and I don't have to come into the construction, the better it is for the final production, because it makes it easy for the animator to simply move from scene to scene without having to come in and change all kinds of things here. That's why I've created all these different actions and levers. It may be extreme, and yeah, I do that, but I think it'll produce our best puppets. So, not knowing the inner workings of Moho, I don't know how this is all affecting how Moho works internally. So this may not be the best thing to do, the way I do things, but I'm trying out things. I'm trying to see what I can do with Moho and push it to its limits. I'm a computer programmer myself, so I understand how the back end should be working. And in fact, they do things that I would have never thought of. It's great. So the more I learn Moho, the better my puppets become, the easier it is for someone else to come behind me and manipulate that puppet in animation. And which is why I went to all the trouble for the dynamic hands. You know, in a human body, there are more bones in the hands and the feet than the entire rest of the body. So why wouldn't we do that for our puppets as well? There should be more bones working the hands and facial features and feet than all the rest of the character's body. And in my puppets, that's the way it is. So anyway, we're going to move on. We've now got our leg rotation. So we're going to continue fixing all these things here. But I got to thinking about things, and I got to looking, and when I go into each of these bones that I've done before, let's go to the bone layer. So that's the skull size. Let's go in and look at that. You can see I've got 64, and the range here is actually minus 70 to 70. So it should have been at 140, but this was probably my first multi-character. And so I was still thinking of 64 like I use when I put the bones back to back like this. But I only use the 64 range, or now 65, because it allows me to put these bones back to back exactly where that action happens to function on the character. So my leg rotation is here, my abdomen back and forth is here, my arms rotation is here, my mouth controls are here. These are tongue controls within the mouth, so maybe I should make these a little smaller to make that obvious. But anyway, then this is a phonetic mouth, which lets us do lip syncing and such, and the way this one works is by affecting these. But anyway, all of these are set at 64 because that's what I was figuring out that was best for me for setting these bones up. So when I set these bones up, I stayed with the 64 point change. So I want to change that, which means I need to change every one of these actions that are related to these bones. So instead of just changing them, I'm going to just delete them and redo them. So that would be from skull size through eyelashes. And all of these are these bones here. We're going to delete these now, and then I'll recreate those once I've got all of this fully functional again. So because these affect these, but I need to make sure these are working first, because once these are set for a particular altered character, we hide them and it locks that character in so that we don't lose that effect. So let's see, let's make sure we don't have anything here that we don't want to still use. So first of all, let's bring the abdomen back to visibility here. So now the full character's there. And let's just test all of these bones on this side of the character. So there's the abdomen left and right, and that is working as it should. I don't see anything we need to change on that. So we're now at the beginning of a timeline, we're position 1. So we're just going to test each of these bones here, these levers that control what the character's doing. So I'm taking a look at how these bones are expanding. It looks like I did that proper. Those look very well spaced and the same in both directions. And one more thing here at this point, we don't need to see those bones anymore. They're doing their job, but we really don't need to see them. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to grab each of these bones, holding shift. I'm hitting B first, then holding shift. I can select each of these and we're just going to hide them so that we don't see them anymore. So hide selected bones. So we don't need them, the job's being done, and we don't want to accidentally grab them. And I don't believe we've named these bones yet, so let's get that done. Let me see if I have any other bones not named. Nope, just these 4. So let's start with this one, which is the upper left hip. So our top left hip. And then this would be the top right hip. And then this would be the bottom left hip. And the bottom right hip. Oh. All right, so there we go. We've got all of those. Now we've got each of these bones to test. So we go with that one. This one is up and down. And then it's always good to use them in conjunction to see how things are actually working out. And I'd like to do more with that tail, the tip of the tail there, the back end, but maybe not. Maybe we'll just leave that like it is. It's pointing down. I think pointing up would be aggressive. Maybe I'll add another lever that lets us flip it up and down, because it wouldn't always want to be up or down. So then we've got this bone, which is obviously not doing anything, and it doesn't look like it's assigned. So let's create the action for it. So it's the back legs up and down. So that adds that there. That's appropriate with legs left and right to next do the back legs up and down. And this is very simple. We're just going to rotate the bone down for position 1, jump to 65, and rotate it up. Then we're going to jump to 33, the halfway point. And that's where everything's at rest. And then we're going to hit B for bone, and we're going to grab the 2 hip bones and hit T. And now we're going to move these, holding shift, we're going to set their position. So they're now set. Then we're going to go to 65. And at 65, we're going to have them rise up just above that control bone there in the center. And then at 1, the minimal position, we're going to have them move down about even with the original front legs there. So just like that. And we're going to double check. We can see that they are still behind the thorax there. But we might want to make the thorax change a little at this point. So let's go to the thorax. And I think as those legs come down, let's bring these 2 points down. So we're going to go G to grab. We're going to grab these 2 points right here where the legs were obviously located. And grabbing that together, I'm holding shift, and I'm just going to bring that down with the legs just like that. So if we do that at the down point, then we need to go back to 65, and then we would need to move them upward. But we don't want to make it look really silly, so we'll only move them up to there. And then at 33, we're going to reset it to its normal position, which wasn't far off. So now our legs go up with the thorax moving upward too, and they go down with the thorax moving down. So that looks pretty neat. So the legs can be brought down to being even with the front legs. So we can then bring the chest down and make the character look like they're moving towards us in an ant downward walking position. And then here we can bring them up for just proving that the legs are very versatile. Alright, so there's the back legs are done. We've got this next bone here, and we're going to go back to the bone layer and create a new action. Or if it's there, it's going to be highlighted. It's the legs left and right, so it's already done. Yeah, so I already did that one. Now you can see that doesn't look like it's working there, but that's because we're not in the animation layer. When you go in the animation layer, then that rotating around works properly. So remember, what you see in the construction layer is not always what you're going to see in the functional layer. Alright? So if you want to test your actions and see them functioning properly, be in at least animation frame 1. Frame 0 is for construction. So there we go. So the next ones are our wings. So there's that, and here's that. And then this bone is for moving, let's see, thorax up and down. Alright, so let's go ahead and do the thorax up and down. It keeps doing that. Oh, that means another action is affecting this part of the body that I've not reset these points at the midpoint. Alright, so it looks like back legs up and down might have been it. So let's go to here and reset here. And I don't see the thorax in anything else. I'm just going to keep resetting till I get exactly what I want happening. So, let's see. Why is it not resetting? Oh, because it's being affected by the bone. Ah, that's why. Okay. So, probably the best thing to do, back to 33 here. Alright, so here's the thing. Obviously this is going to be an issue. And since I'd like to do the arms using the same effect as I did the legs, I think what I need to do here is cancel this action, just delete it, go back to the construction layer, and delete the thorax up and down. Because I'm trying to improve the puppet. So, what I'm going to do here, and this is going to probably mess up some things, but I'm not sure yet, And I'm going to duplicate the thorax and make it into two different parts. So, put them together at the moment. Well, no. The top of the thorax is going to be up with the arms. So, we'll put it before the arms on the layers. Whoops. I didn't want to do that. Oh, I'm in the timeline. How'd that happen? Alright. So thorax goes up above the head. There we go. So that's going to be the chest. We'll just call it chest. And it'll be the chest and neck. And what we're going to do is simply delete the bottom part. So we're going to grab and delete these 2 points and bring this point here. And then I'm going to hide these strokes. And I want to restore that curve. So we're going to grab curve and we're going to bring that like that and like that, so that we've got the same kind of curve happening. And let's clean this one up a bit here. Now we're going to go to the bottom, the thorax base, and we're going to basically do the opposite, and we're going to delete these bones, or points, not bones, and bring this point down. So T to grab the point, and we'll bring it right about there. And we're going to increase that curve, and we're going to straighten these curves to the body as it was before. So now, if we get it right, again, precision is what matters. You want to watch your stroke edge where your parts come together. And there we go. Now we've got 2 different parts. And what I think I'll do is take the lower part, and that will be controlled by this bone, and then the upper part will be controlled by this bone. And so we basically have the same thing we had, but the difference is these points are going to migrate. So as we rotate the body, let's go to the main character now. So as we rotate the body, oh, we don't want that. Thorax, chest. Why? How did I do this? I did. What's... Oh, there must be an action affecting it. Alright, so back legs up and down probably. Because I did make a change to the character, and so here it is. Let's go ahead and delete that and go to the thorax, and let's redo that because we're not sure of how it's going to affect. So now we're going to go check and see that everything's back to normal now, and that our drawing looks like it did, so there doesn't look to be any difference at this point other than these slight little divots here. And there's a way to fix that. We might do that. So let's see. So when we rotate that, everything rotates as before. When we rotate this, we're going to want the arms to rotate with it. And you can see these lines coming in here. Maybe, no. Alright, so let's go into the chest here, in the construction layer. And I'm going to take this point completely out. And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to hit T for point to select a single point, and then curve, and then I'm going to hold Alt and bring this curve straight across. I want it to go directly across to the other side, and the same over here, and go straight across. So when you get one of them, then the other one's easier to set. You want to simply overlap the line that it actually is controlling. And there we go. So now, when we rotate the upper part, it disconnects. That's not good at all. No. It was better as a circle. So let's undo everything. Control Z a number of times. And one more. Two more there. So here's our point. So let's get that point centered where it belongs. It should be maybe even right to there. And on the thorax, it's going up to there. And I think I want to bring this down more. Like to right there. Increase the curve. In fact, I'm thinking to do this properly. Get that right there. I should be doing a perfect circle end, our base there. So it's here. Turn on target for style. C for curve and clean up to follow that curve. And there we go. Now we can hit T and grab the circle and delete it. It's out of the way. So now let's take a look at how that affects our character. So now when we rotate, okay, it's bulging out a little at the sides there. And again, we're going to need these two arms to be moving with this. So let's hit this and go P for parent and parent it there. And then B here and P for parent and parent it there. Now, that's better. the circle is too low. That's why it's bulging out. So let's go back to the chest. Well, it was here before, or up before. Let's put it right there and see how that works. Okay, that's acceptable. We're getting a little bit of a no stroke because of the invisibility of the stroke. Oh, and I didn't even notice that our neck is now in front of the head. So that's not going to work. So the chest needs to be... Okay, so that's no good. Okay, I see. So there's where we want it to be. So let's go to 16. And we're going to just reset. And then we're going to drag it in. Go between at 8. Let's drag it up. So it's tough to stretch a bone and also try to affect the action of the device or the object itself while doing so. I think this might work. Let's give it a try. Clear animation because we're getting some prior effects actually right now. There we go. So let's go to the bone layer, which is somewhere out, and affect the bones. So no, that's not going to work. Oh, I bet I didn't reset. At 33. Reset. And reset curve. Huh. I think what I want to do here too is to grab this point and this point and bring them together. That didn't work. I held shift instead of alt. Well, apparently we can't do that up and down with the actual chest. So let's choose the chest and change it back to normal. So the problem is we're losing the connection at this point, and it's because we're shrinking this bone to 5%. So let's go back and change that from 5% to, let's go 25. So it's not as short, but the chest shouldn't be coming away from the body so much. It still is. You can see it. Alright. I know what to do. We're trying to get two different effects here. We're trying to keep the body overlapping and keeping the stroke from overlapping. Well, let's try and see what we get here. Clear the animation. There it is. It's working now. Alright, so now we've got it. So hitting that reset, that fixed everything. Yep, very good. Alright, so we got it. Yep. So that's good there. Now we're going to do the arm rotation around the upper body. To do that, we want to go into the group that is the upper body, and we need to enable animated layer border. So now we can rotate those arms around the chest. So we're going to create an action for that bone, which is thorax left and right. At 1, we're going to rotate all the way to the left. At 65, we're going to rotate all the way to the right. And we're going to do the same thing we did on the legs, but only to one set of arms, because there's not two sets of arms. So on the back side, this will be reduced by 50%. And when it's on the front side and it's extreme, it's going to be at 5%. And the other arm is going to be, or the other bone, is going to be at 50% here. And then at 5% here. And then, of course, at 33, we're going to reset both of them. So we'll keep the bone, shift, grab both bones, and reset. So now we've got one rotating behind and one moving in front, the other moving behind and the other one in front. So again, we want to go to the halfway points. And at this point is when the arm is going to be rotating around the body and then to behind the body. Okay, so at 48, this bone, so we're going to choose just this bone and then hit T, is going to have the arm stretched out to right there. And then when it goes behind, we're going to shift the layer to where it goes behind the chest. So at this point, the left arm goes behind the chest. Then back to 48, it comes back in front of the chest, which it already did. Let's see where the, Okay, so at 48, I want it to go behind the chest and stay there. It's got to stay within the group. Moving it out of the group won't let it work. So here we go. Now that's staying behind all the way, and then from 48 forward, it's in front. All right, and then at 16, we want this bone to be stretched out to the max, to where it's touching the edge of the body. So hit the T, that, just where the strokes are completely overlapping each other. We don't want to ever lose that connection with the stroke. So there, and then from this point, that arm needs to be behind, so that's the right arm needs to go behind the chest. And there it is. So now from here forward, and it stays behind only if we set it at 1 as well. And there we go. So now the arms rotate around the body. They can both be in front. Whoops. That one should not be disappearing here. It should be in front until 16. So let's move it again. Now from here forward, it should go behind. There we go. All right, so now we've got our arms working like we should. Let's go back to the main line. So now we can test that the arms go around the body as they should. The legs go around the body as they should. Now, if you'll notice, I'm losing a bit right here because the leg is going behind the chest. So, again, something the animator should be aware of when they're animating. They may have to go in and adjust the chest to be below the rest of the leg during animation if they need to move that far over. Otherwise, it's working really well. So there's that. Up and down. Left and right. Rotation. Left and right. Rotation. Left and right. Everything seems to be working good there. Alright, so I believe that makes everything here is fine. The mouth, the jaw, lips, how wide the lips are. Everything works. And then, as I said, the phonetics are over there. Let's check the tongue. Let's open the mouth as far as it'll go. Open the jaw as far as it goes. There's the tongue. We can make the tongue really wide or really narrow. We can make it really left or right. We can move it up and down, of course. And we can change how rounded it is. So whether it's rounded or square. So we can do a lot with that tongue inside the mouth. With the mouth. Zoom in on the mouth. So there's that. Of course, you can adjust the mouth, and then the phonetics will keep that mouth shape during the phonetics. So if you want the character shouting, are very well done because nothing is changed. So now we're going to do the eyes, but I want to duplicate the controls so we have a set for the left eye and a set for the right eye. So I'm just going to grab these bones, Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and now I can pick up and move the second set over just like that. And we want to come to about right there. So now we've got a set of bones for the left eye and a set for the right eye. So we need to just make sure we rename them to the right things. So this is the right pupil, left eye. We have the L and the R. And get rid of the 2. Okay, I know, I just can't rap. So, this one's right, and they've all had a point at that point, so I'm going to add it to that one. And then on the left one, we want it to be consistent, at least when we're on the eye parts. So left eye, left pupil, left upper pupillid, and pupil size. And then this is their head turn, and I don't think we need to change that because that's how all of this started. So our head turn and head tilt are still good, and especially if we're in the animation, because in the antennas, oh, they're not coming forward. So we need to make sure we do that with the antennas when we're done with this. Well, let's do it now. So when the head's up and down, when it comes forward, those antennae are here. Oh, we can't move them because we're already moving other stuff. So, oh, that's probably where I would, yeah. So, what can we do? Can we put them in their own group of head? Let's do that. Let's go to the main line. Instruction layer. And we're going to take the 2 antennas and the skull and the head and the chest and make that the head group. So we'll go head and shoulders. Alright, and that means that I can now go in head and shoulders, and we can do animated layer sort, or layer order. And so when my head, let's go back to the head up and down action. So now we can move these antennae in front of the head, like that. And then as it comes back, they should stay in front until right about, well, at 33. So at 33, we don't have a reset for animated layers, so we're just going to move these back to the bottom here. So now they pop behind the skull. But that means that at the point before 33, at 32, those bones need to be, well, let's see, from here behind, at 33 they're in front, and what I think I want to do is take these bones here, another bone layer, and we're going to grab both of these antennae, And then at 33, I'm on, at 33 everything's reset. Then at 34, we're going to raise them up just a bit so that they do the strokes overlapping part thing right there. And then from there they can drop down behind. That works. That's the front jumps a little bit quick from here to here. And actually, let's put the antennas back in front on this stroke here. Whoop. I just got myself out of the stroke of the action, so head up and down. At 33. At 33 we're reset. And everything is where it needs to be. At 34, it's going to go up and then drop down. So at 33, we want those antennas in front. And then at 34, they move on up and then drop behind. So at 35, now we bring them down. And from here, they should stay behind all the way to there. So yeah, this jump over is a little bit quick, but it's better than it was. So now the head nods up and down, and the antenna moves behind as the head tilts farther. So there we go. Now, make sure at 30, yeah, we did reset everything at 33. So, bones, B, grab this one, hit this one, and we're going to make sure we're on the bone layer. Hit T for transform, and then reset. See, they were not back where they belong. Now it's going to still be a little big of a jump. Bigger jump, yeah. Well, let's move this. Still doesn't. Alright, so there we've got our head tilt going back. If you do it quickly, it doesn't make a big deal, but that is quite a jump there. The only way to change it would be to change the position at rest. Alright, so let's move on. So we've got our head turning and head, I don't want to move those. I'm in the timeline. Construction layer, select no bone, and so double check that nothing changes between here and here, and look at the antennas. So we're good. So now there's our eye bones. I hid these because they were bound to these bones, and so we're going to unbind those right now. We don't want this, so we're going to go to none here. We don't want any controls from other bones. So there we go. Now, all those bones are there, and all we need now is to finish this functional puppet is to make the eyes fully functional. So, here's our first bone. So we're going to go to left eyelid open. Oh, we don't have actions because I've deleted those. Yeah, all the actions are gone. Right, so we're going to create new actions for each of these. So right eyelid up and down. So first position is going to be down. We're going to bring this all the way to the middle. We're going to jump to 65 and move it all the way to the top. And then we're going to go into the skull and the head and to each of the eyes, and we're going to go to the upper lid first and correct eye, and then we're just going to close the eye. So we're going to take this point here and drag it straight down, and we want to go just to where it's just below the pupil there. Now you can see how it's distorting the eye from around the edges. That's because of our curves. So we're going to hit our curve, and we can see we can use Alt and drag this back to round and bring that back to round. And maybe a little more on this one. So there is the eye closed, but we've got the eyelashes, so we're going to bring those. And the way I'm doing the eyelashes is we grab all of it, hit T, and I'm just going to bring the top center down and around until it aligns with my eyelid, just like that. So when we get back to reset at 33, and we reset, we're back to our normal eyelashes. And we got to reset the upper lid as well. And we're going to grab the whole thing and reset it, and then reset the curves. So now those curves should adjust between there and there without a lot of change. You want some change. You want to make sure that it looks like motion is actually happening. So there we go. So now we're going to bring the bottom lid up. So we go to the lower lid here, and we hit T, and you're just going to grab the center point and bring that to there. So now we've got our eye. Oh, that should have been open, huh? I'm doing it backwards. Alright, so let's move all this to here for each activity. So, eye closed, and then we want to reset. We've reset the upper one. Let's reset the lower lid. And because we only affected the one point so far, that's all we need to reset. But let's take a look at that actually happening. So, the eyes closing. I like that. Yeah, it's becoming more round as it comes together. Alright, so we're going to do that like that, and now we're going to go to the open side. So we go to 65, and we want to bring this point straight down. And I don't think we want to go outside of the sclera edge there, so we're going to stop right there. But we're going to hit C for curve, and then we're going to adjust these weird corners here, which, let's see. There it is. Okay. Control Z, and now I'm going to use Alt and grab that and bring it down to just make that follow the other edge. So the same thing here. We're going to grab the upper curve point, which by itself, there. And we're going to bring this down to just make the eyelid look like it's crunching up, basically. So, there we go. And now we want to do the top eyelid, same thing. We go to the upper lid. We're going to grab the middle point. Hitting T on the keyboard and bring it up. We want to leave an edge. And that curve actually looks like it's working fairly well, but let's add a little bit of roundness there. So now as it comes down, the curve is automatically shrinking because we've already reset to the neutral at 33. But we're going to double check, hit T, reset, curve, and reset. So there we go. There's the eyelid opening, closing. Looks sleepy. All right, so now we're going to go back to the timeline. And to the bone layer. And we're going to do the next two, which is the eyelids, or the pupils left and right. No, this is pupil size, sorry. So we're going to do pupil size. So at the minimal position, we want it moved all the way to the left. We're going to jump to 65 and move it all the way to the right. And so at this point, we're going to deal with the pupil. And we want it, wrong pupil. We want it to be twice as big as it is now. And we're going to do this by layer. It's easier by layer because it keeps the size differential in your numbers so you can see what's going on. So at this point, actually not 200, we're going to go 150 by 150. So it's twice, or 150% of what it was. Then we're going to jump to the minimal and we're going to make it 50 and 50. So there, it goes from 50 to 150. And at 33, of course, we want to reset. So it's already showing, but we're going to go ahead and hit the reset button anyway. And we're done. Go back to the main line, bone layer. And we can test the bone. Pupil gets smaller, pupil gets bigger. Eyelid opens and closes. Oh, we didn't do the eyelashes on the open and close. So go back to eyelid up and down. And at 65, we want the eyelash. I don't know how I missed that. And got the wrong eye again. I'm going to grab those lashes, hit T, and just like I dragged it down for closing it, I'm just going to stretch it upward like this. And then it is a little off on the sides. Let's go Alt and stretch it sideways a bit. And now pick up just the points of the last tips and put them back in place. So there we go. Let's close it and open it. I think on the over here, let's move this in and up a bit. Yeah, that's better. All right. So now the eyelid is right, the pupil right, and now we're going to do the pupil up and down. So choose this one, create an action. Rotate to the minimal position because we're at 1 here. Jump to 65 and rotate to the maximum. So the maximum travel of the pupil, we want that to be just within the eye. So I'm going to hit T, and we're going to do this by the object. So I'm going to drag the object up until these points in the center are overlapping the stroke here. So holding shift, dragging straight up. And I'm going to put the outer one right in the center of the stroke. Then we're going to draw to 1, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to bring the point on the outer edge to the center of the stroke of the outer edge of the eye. Then at 33, we reset back to normal, and you can see the position is slightly off here. Hit reset, and there we go. So now the eye pupil goes up, and it goes down. Go back out to the main line and to the character, and we're in the animation room again for some reason. Let's get rid of that. We got a change happening. So first of all, the antennae are jumping behind. They're not here, only when you're going animation. Okay, so that's fine. But the eye is changing. You can see the stroke on the eyelashes is not reset. So we got to go back into the eyelids up and down. We went in and changed the eyelashes. We need to reset those at 33. So we got 33. We've got them selected. No, we don't. Hit G to grab, and we're just going to reset everything about them. And reset the curve. There it was. It was reversing it for some reason. So close. Wide. All right, now I think that should take care of everything. Let's go back and check. Yep, we still got a little bit of change happening on the lower eyelid. So let's go back in. And the lower lid. Apparently I didn't reset curve, or here. Oh, I'm not resetting the curve there. I'm resetting 33. That is it. Alright, so now back to the main line. Back to the bone layer. Make sure we're in construction layer and switch, and there's no change. When you've got no change, you know you've got your action set up properly, because now we can manipulate the eye up and down. You can make it different sizes. Oh, you need to be in the animation layer. Make it different sizes. Move it up and down, or open the eye really big, or close it blank. And so now our pupil left and right. Back to the main line. Let's erase all animation. Create an action for the bone. Pupil left and right. So with it left, we're going to rotate all the way to the left. Then we're going to jump to 65 and rotate it all the way to the right. We're going to grab the pupil, hit T, and for all the way to the right, we're going to bring it till the inside point is in the center of the stroke. Well, no, let's go further. Let's bring it centered. So we'll go with the lower point in the center of the stroke. So that's all the way to the right. All the way to the left, we'll do similar. We'll bring the stroke, the point in the center of the stroke. And then at 33, of course, we reset. And it was very close. So there's our eyeball, our pupil, left, right. Let's go back out, go to the main line, go to the bone layer, go to the animation frame 1, and manipulate our bones. You know, when it comes over like this, I think maybe we should change the pink on the sclera as well. Give it a little more effect. And this character's eyes don't have any highlights. So let's go to the construction layer and add highlights. So first, clear animation from document. And we're going to go into the head and the eyes, and we're just going to add a in the pupil. Let's add a new layer above the pupil. We need to be in the construction zone. And we're going to add a new layer. And it's just going to be highlight. No Y. Fat fingers. Alright, and then we're going to do that on the other eye as well. So we go above the pupil, create a new vector, and it's going to be highlight. And then let's go ahead and change the color of this to green. And then this one to orange. And then this one to pink. Same thing here. This one becomes green. This one becomes orange. And the sclera becomes pink. So now we've got a highlight position. So do we have a highlight style? And no, we do not. So we're going to create a new one. And it's going to be highlight. And the fill is going to be very white, but mostly transparent. So about right like that. And then the edge is going to be the same. And we'll bring the transparency for that to there. So now we can go in and draw a highlight on the right eye. That there, and we'll put a tinier one there. Then we're just going to grab those, copy them. Then we're going to go into the highlight for the other eye, and we're going to paste them, and they automatically reversed. And let me think. I don't think I want the highlight reversed. I want to put the highlight on the same side of the round of the eye. So we're going to reverse it here, and we're good to go. So now, when we do the eyes left and right, we can do the highlights at a different speed to make the eye look even more round. So that's the reason we add highlight like that. So now we're going to go back to the pupil left and right action. So when the pupil moves, we're going to move the highlight. So we're going to go down to the highlight here. And holding shift so it doesn't move up and down, I'm just going to move it left and right. And I want to bring it to where it's just barely touching the eye right there. And then the opposite direction at 65, we want the bottom just barely touching it. It would be like about right there. So now when we go to 33, we reset. And now when we move the eye, it'll have a highlight effect. Let's go to the main line. Animation layer. Frame. And now when we move that eye, the highlight moves and you get an effect that the eye is definitely a 3D object there. So there we go. So let's go ahead and now and complete the other eye.
We are fine in the middle of the line. We will get there the perfect time. In the middle of the line. Cruise with me. Slow it with me. In the middle of the line. Cruise with me. In the middle of the line. Cruise with me. In the middle of the line. Cruise with me. In the middle of the line. Cruise with me.
So the pupils are bound together, but we can separate them if we want. So if we wanted the character to go cross-eyed or to blink or wink, however we want, we can do. It's just for now, they are bound, making it easy to keep the eyes looking like they are actual eyes. There we go. So there is all of the puppet completed as far as full puppeteering functionality. The only thing we have that's not proper, I think, well, no, the antenna are working. The head turn works. And they work together, not too bad. They definitely work together better than when I was using the Rotate XY to change the way it looked. But I'm not an artist, and so it helped me create the right look for the characters, so at different positions. So there we go, our character is done. Let's save it. And since this wasn't a major save, it's a minor one, we're just going to save. So now this is done, and we're going to clear animation. We want to clear everything. We want to, when we save our character, we shouldn't have any animation in the animation line. We should be on the bone layer. We should make sure that everything is in its proper places. Here I've added head and shoulders, so I'm going to want to change my color scheme here. So let's close everything up. Okay, so head and shoulders is just the third item in the upper body. That makes that easy. We just turn on coral. But the upper body, it is also a different color than what it was here before. So let's see. Alright, so we got symbol ant. So let's make the phonem wheel blue. It's the first item. Then this would be cadet blue. And then this would be coral. And this would be green. Orange. Okay. Purple. Red. And tan. So you can see these are all the base groupings inside of SimRealm. So that's as low as these can all be closed, other than closing up SimRealm. Now we open up wings, and it should go from blue. So before I was not doing this, I was just choosing random colors. So now I go blue, cadet blue, coral, and then green, all in order. Close that up, go into abdomen, same thing here. You start with the first item is blue, which it is, the cadet blue, which it is, then coral, green, orange, pink, purple. So that abdomen is done right. Let's go into the rear leg. So yeah, that's proper. So the other legs are probably going to be proper as well. Yeah, the thorax is singular item. Proper. Proper. And so now that just leaves the upper body. So we want to close everything into its minimal position first. So then we go blue, cadet blue, and then coral. And then we open up each of these and do the same thing. So right antenna should be blue, left should be cadet blue, the head coral, then let's see, the left eye should be closed up like that. So that should be closed up. Alright, so the head is coral and it's the last thing on the list there. No, we got skull. So that would be green. And then chest would be orange. Because that's all under head and shoulders. Then under head, we got left eye, right eye, mouth, skull, chest, that's proper. In mouth, we've got top teeth, bottom teeth, tongue, lips, and that's proper. The right eye, we've got upper lash, upper lid, lower lid, highlight, pupil, proper. Okay, so I did the eyes today, so I know they're right. So there we go, we've got our character laid out, we've got all the colors assigned properly, and now we can save it. So we're done with version 5. Now we're going to save as and move on. So save as, and this is going to be version 6. And now what I'm going to do is all of these, none of them should have an action at this point. They should all be gone. There shouldn't be any actions for any of these bows here. I'm just checking to make sure they're each set at minus 70, 70. Just double checking by look. They all have their names already. And we need to move them. And there we go. So, oh, that's wrong. That one is not set properly on the constraints. I can see it. It needs to be minus 70 and 70. There. So now they're all correct. So we'll save again, because this is our starting point for programming all of these. So that'll do it for this video. This is the end of any SimRel Part 3. When we come back, I will prepare all of these bones here for creating digital DNA to make 8 octillion versions of this character. So come back for Part 4. Please hit that like button, hit subscribe, and if you could, please visit dangeraware.org. We're trying to get to 3,000 visitors by the end of our fiscal year, which is in April. And so we're going to have our 3rd year anniversary on April 11th. So tune in. We're going to try to do some things live for Facebook and YouTube. Give us a tune in to watch our 3rd year anniversary. And visit dangeraware.org. Help us change the paradigm of abuse awareness. If you're an animator and you'd like to help us, send us an email. If you can write stories, send us an email. If you can make music, send us an email. Anything you can do to help us change the paradigm of abuse awareness to make our cartoons and everything attractive for children and for the elderly as well, come help us. We need the help. Thank you.
watch for the one that would do you harm. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Please be alert and be aware of all the dangers anywhere. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Stand your ground and speak out loud. Let the world know harm's all around. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Danger, danger,